South American Siege had a lot of roster activity and a little region merge similar to Europe. There's now only one league for the entire continent that sends teams to majors, but it's still predominantly Brazilian lineups until now. So here's a little recap and the narrative points for 2025 that caught my eye the most. It's still a 10-team league, 5 partners, 3 affiliates, and 2 Challenger Series promotions. And of these 6 or so teams worldwide that didn't make any changes in the offseason, Furia and FaZe are 2 of them. Keeping the best Brazilian roster in history and the current world champs together makes a ton of sense. The first challenger team is Los, who actually stuck with most of the roster they had from their NAL appearance last stage. No Sexycake, no Wizard. Instead, it's Kurtz and Mr. Outlaw to work with Farius, Legacy, and Arthur. It's the youngest team in the SAL by far, and it's cool to see Legacy and Farius getting another Tier 1 shot because they were really the only bright spots during Los's 2-win NAL campaign in 2024. Though if they only got 2 regular season wins last year in North America, to switch to a tougher region without any super experienced players on the team is one of the decisions of all time. So we'll have to see if it pans out for them. Sexycake isn't with Los anymore, but he did qualify to South America through Challenger with ENX. You might recognize Florio and Nigel, but Boxera and Angels make their Brazil debuts after just 1 stage each in LATAM last year. And they ran the table on a lower bracket run in Challenger, even beating Los in the grand final to earn this spot. But historically, teams that Sexycake has been on since he left Liquid have done next to nothing since 2021. The highest he's gotten in any Tier 1 stage in 4 years, regardless of region, is 6th, which is a crazy stroke of luck. ENX is another one of his teams with a roster that doesn't really excite, but anything that shows an improvement over Los's performance last year would do a lot to show that maybe the 4th time around, he actually might have something here. Liquid finally broke up the Nesk Paluh duo after 6 years of hoping they could get it over the line. They also let Lagonis go, asked Ass to come back, and added Dias Lucas to his first all-Brazilian roster after 4 years of playing in NA. Brazil is so good at Siege, even they're importing Brazilians. The big talking point would always be Liquid moving into a new chapter if either Nesk or Paluh left, and especially NA fans might think that the Dias acquisition is the larger narrative, but I would argue it's Ask. He first joined Liquid in 2021 at 18 years old. One of Brazil's premier teams he went to 4 lands with, then got let go and had to claw his way back into Tier 1. And when he did, he helped get Black Dragons back to a major by eliminating Furia and almost made playoffs in Montreal. Now he's 22. He's back with Liquid, and I would wager he's now much better equipped to help Liquid get their first international trophy since 2019. Paluh's arguably still one of the best in Brazil, though, and him now going to W7M looks like it could be scary. He jumps from one top 4 team to another, reunites with Volps, and gives the Bulls a hell of a response to their early exit in Boston. I'm mostly curious how this changes them up compositionally. Dash signing with Wildcard leaves a void at support, and Dash also didn't seem like the weak link during SI, though Paluh has been playing a lot of Hard Breach and Smoke recently. But do you have him stick to that, or put somebody else in the back line and let him go back to doing OG Paluh things? Is it a 1-for-1 Paluh for Dash swap, or are there some other lineups afoot for the Montreal champs? Guess we'll find out. Loud have officially joined the Siege ecosystem by signing the Raza Company roster that made top 6 at the Invitational, minus Flastry plus Daffodil. They basically did what I hoped Unwanted would do, keep one of the orgless teams from SI together on a big org. I think their story here is 2-pronged. They were a decent team last year who went on a crazy run in Boston, so there's probably some unspoken pressure to prove it wasn't a fluke because a big org came in and scooped them right up. And even if he didn't have a great last series in playoffs, not including Flastry in this lineup is certainly a choice. They seem confident in Daffo, and there's definitely been times in the past where he's shown some good flashes, but we might not be as confident until we see what they can do in Rio. NIP said goodbye to Psycho back in January and brought Wizard back after a stage on Los last year that didn't go anywhere. Neither did NIP, because the last land they went to was the Invitational in 2024. So they're re-signing a guy who helped get them there, along with Atlanta, Copenhagen, and Berlin. Ninjas just didn't seem to have a spark at all in 2024. They started the year with the Pino, Psycho, Muzi trio, but kept on replacing components, and now Pino's the only old head left. Getting Fantasy was a nice add, and he did carry some weight in Stage 2, but for a long time, they've just kind of been there. And internationally, they haven't been there at all. The top 5, maybe even top 6 in Brazil is well-known territory at this point, and the Ninjas currently aren't encroaching on it. So if they perform anywhere above mid-table in 2025, treat that like a stepping stone to getting back on track, because it feels like this team needs to be built back up incrementally. Black Dragons blew everything up, including the old logo. They kept Hornetow from last year, but they grabbed Muzi, Rare, Flastry, and Machina. The old team made Montreal and then went in completely different directions, and the new team looks like it's been together for a couple of months now. 2 guys from an 8th place MIBR team, 1 top 6 finisher from Boston, and 1 of NIP's old Big 3. I don't have any expectations for this team, but I also don't have any reservations, which, when you think about it, that's in line with almost every team BD have fielded since like 2019, and the few times BD have gone to LAN, it's been off the back of a team that clearly has talent, but nobody ever expected would make it as far as they did. And it looks like they've done that again. So the story for Black Dragons is the same story it's always been, just with different players at the table this time. And there is one team here that isn't 5 Brazilian players. There's only 2. 9Z have picked up Zhao and Will, but also made Nitro, Tuku, Naza, and Kurz the first Argentines, the first players outside Brazil to play in the biggest league in South America in Siege history. I don't blame you for not knowing who they are. Tuku went to Atlanta with Knights, Naza qualified for Montreal with Alpha but got visaed last second, Nitro and Kurz are LATAM vets, and Zhao and Will are making their Tier 1 debuts with this team. They didn't need to play challengers. 9Z is a league partner, so this is the roster they went with. Genuinely love seeing more country representation on a larger stage, but Godspeed, guys. And that's SA's moves in a nutshell. I'll see you later. Peace.